Good morning, all. Let's start today with our 15th chapter of Social Studies, and that is Economic Development. Now, you had already done economics in 9th standard, but it was on a very small scale. Here in 10th standard, chapter 15 to 19, we will be dealing with economics. So, in 15th chapter here, let's study what do you mean by economic development, what do you mean by developing countries or developed countries, and many more factors related to development. Now, it is said that every person morning begins in a different way. Here, different way means some people they live in luxury, so they need not struggle a lot to live their life. But then there are many people all over the world where we see that each morning for them is a struggle for existence. So every person morning begins in a different way. Many people lead their life full of material pleasure. That is, they have everything in their life. Luxuries, you can say food, clothing, shelter, and much more than that. But you will see that maximum people of the world are even today struggling for existence. For these people who are called poor, physical pleasure, well-being or resting is an imagination. That is just a dream for them. Now, how has this situation originated and how to come out of this situation? Let's see about it. So, first part is economic development, which deals with the country's income, average person's income, and many more points. So in today's modern world, every country is trying to achieve development. You must have also seen about our country itself that we see every time our country is achieving something more than the previous year, and we are moving ahead. But however, development is not confined. Confined means not limited to only economic development. You can't say that if a country has good infrastructure or even the best infrastructure, then it is said to be highly developed country. No, it is not so. Development means not only development of infrastructure, but along with that many other points are included, like the literacy level and the employment level of the country and the lifestyle that the people are living of that particular country, etc. And it is a process of social change having many phases. That is, there are many things that are included when we calculate economic development of a country. Now, economic development means that there is continuous increase in the country's national income. So, for a 2 marker, what do you mean by economic development? You have to write these 3 points. First, continuous increase in the country's national income. Second, increase in per capita income of a country. Now, per capita income means is an average income that is earned by a person in a particular region, city or country in that one particular year. And third is change in the lifestyle of the people. That also we see that before independence, after independence and today, when you compare these different phases of our country or of any country, you can see that the lifestyle improves day after day. You must have even seen in your family itself that the lifestyle of your family years back it was something different. Today it is better than what it was in the past. So this is called economic development, and total income of the country is called national income. Now, by dividing the country's total income with the total population of that country, we get per capita income. While the living standard includes various facilities like food, clothing, shelter, health, education, transportation service, etc. Because of increase in national income and per capita income after independence, there has been better services and facilities available to us like food grains, clothing, electricity, education, health services, shelter, etc. So this shows that a country is developing economically because a country's income is increasing, thus per capita income also increases, and with all these things the lifestyle improves and the infrastructure, or you can say the services available to us in a country, are improving day by day. The above mentioned requirements are fulfilled easily and in a much better way today if you compare it to the past. So we can say that economic development is taking place in India. Now here, this part you will have to learn over here, national income, that is GDP, which we'll discuss later. But here the full form is, you can learn gross domestic production. So national income of our country, which was 8736,039 crores in 2011 and 12, has increased to 13567,192 crores in 2015 and 16. Now, as you move ahead here, you will see difference between progress and development. Now, what do you mean by economic progress? And what do you mean by economic development? There is a difference between them. In simple words, if we see, economic progress as well as economic development, both the word shows that there is increase. But there is lots of difference between these two. Let's see what it is. So first, the difference between progress and development on the basis of development process. Let's see what it is. Now, economic development is qualitative, while economic progress is quantitative. Now, let me explain. Qualitative means lifestyle is improving, literacy level is increasing, health is improving, health facilities are improving in the country. Whereas progress, economic progress means the quantity of these things when it increases, it is called progress. Economic development is first stage, while economic progress is the stage after development. Now let's move on to the second part. According to changes that are taking place in our economy, we can find out the difference between progress and development. Now, on the basis of new researches in economy or in a country, increase in production is economic development. I am not saying that the quantity is increasing, but new researches, when it takes place, naturally the production increases than what it was before. So here it is called economic development. For example, because of research in hybrid seeds, that is, for example, say better quality of wheat, when research was made in it in agricultural sector, we could see that the production in agriculture increased manifold, that is many times. So this research, when it is carried out and production increases due to this researches, then that part is called economic development. And this shows, as I told you, economic development. But on the other hand, when there is increase in agricultural production because of increase in agricultural land, it is called economic progress. For example, say that you were scoring till yesterday, say 50 to 55%, but then all of a sudden Not I can say all of a sudden, but due to lots of facilities and your hard work and many more things, you were successful in reaching to 80%. Now here you can say that the quality improved. So that's development. But now you progress ahead with now every year you make yourself a bit better, and with the same procedure you are moving ahead, some percentage keeps on increasing. That is your progress. So similarly, research is made in agriculture or any other field, and when the production increases, it is called development. But when you increase the production by buying one more piece of land, it is called your progress. When we move ahead, we will see difference between progress and development in relation to developed and developing countries. Difference is seen in both of them in relation to developed and developing nations. Now, increase in national income of developed countries is called economic progress. That is, for example, say when developed country, they are already developed in all the matters since many years. So now if their country's income increases, they will not say, oh wow, we are developing more and more. It's just a progress that they are showing that their income is increasing. But the same national income, when it increases in our country or in other developing countries, yes, we would call it development, because up till last few years you could see after independence we have seen less income of our country, plus when the income is not high, naturally the facilities and services are not available of good quality in our country. But now when the national income increases, you see everything increasing in our surrounding. So national income increase for developing country is called economic development. Now the next topic will be for your 4-marker detail answer, features of developing economy. Features means which are those points that will tell you that this points you should have, and then only it could be called a developing country. So let's see. Economy of developed and developing country is separated on the basis of per capita income. Now, when per capita income of a particular country is less compared to the other, naturally you can easily differentiate between the two countries, that is high national income, high per capita income, developed infrastructure and all in the country. That country is termed as developed country. Now, as per World Development Report of 2004 of World Bank, countries having income less than 735 US dollars are termed as developing country or developing economy. And following are the important features of a developing country. Now, low or less per capita income. Now, national income of developing countries is less, but population is high. So, when you try to divide countries' income with the population, the answer that we get is low per capita income. That is average income of the person in one particular year. When we see if it is low, naturally that country is said to be a developing country. Now, because of this low per capita income, lifestyle of the people naturally will be low. So this is termed as developing country. Now, second feature of developing countries, population growth. That is, population growth rate is high in developing economy. Rate of population growth is 2% or more in such countries. Next feature, depending or dependence on agriculture. Now, developing country, one of the feature is that majority of the population depends on agriculture. Main occupation of the people of developing countries is agriculture. More than 60% of the population is dependent on it for employment. Contribution of agriculture in national income of developing countries is about 26%. So we see that when a particular country's national income has like 26 or more percentage of its contribution from agriculture, then it is termed to be a developing country. Now next is unequal distribution of income. That is, you will see that there are many categories in a country like India. Like you can see Ambani's, and below them you can see some other categories. That is, you can take the great superstars in our film industries. So there is difference in their income, their lifestyle, and still go below you will see the very high middle class, and then there is middle class and people living above poverty line, then there is people living on poverty line, and then there is people living below poverty line. So there are many categories in a country like India. So here naturally you will see that there are very rich, average, poor, very poor. So this distribution of income is not equal among all. And those who are rich, they are very few in our country. Whether those who are poor are very many. So unequal distribution of income and resources or factors of production is clearly seen in developing countries. This inequality is seen in cities as well as villages. Now 20% rich people of the country will share 40% of country's income. That is, say for example, if you have to divide 40 rupees between 20 people, then each one will get how many rupees? 2 rupees, right? Now move on to the second part. That is 20% poor people, they will share 10% of the country's income. That is, if now you divide 10 rupees in between 20 people, very few amount poor people receive as a part from national income. So when you compare that, rich people are getting 2 rupees compared to that poor people are getting how many? Just calculate and tell me. 20 people are getting 50 paise each. So 2 rupees on one hand, 50 paise on the other. This shows that this is a feature which could be seen in a developing economy, and this concentration of income and property that is seen mostly in the hands of rich people in a developing country. Now, the next feature of developing economy is unemployment. Now, unemployment may be counted as an important feature of a country or many other developing countries. In these countries, the level of unemployment is more than 3% of the total labor force. Now, what is total labor force? Now, say India's population is 100 people, because this small figure 100 will be easy for you to calculate. Now, out of this 100, say 40 are out in search of job or any work. Now, out of this, 40 people who are actually termed as laborers. But how many are not getting employment out of this total labor? That is more than 3%. It means many people, they go out in search of work, but they don't get work. So that percentage in a country or in developing countries more than 3%. In these countries, different types of unemployment you can see, which in detail will be discussed in the following chapters. Seasonal unemployment, disguised unemployment, industrial unemployment, and many other. Moreover, this period of unemployment also is very long. Now we can say, just let me give you an example over here as for seasonal unemployment. Others we will do in the other chapters. Now seasonal unemployment means like we have those seasonal shops and all. But here we are considered with one particular season only. And in that season when people are unemployed, like say farmers. Now farmers have work. We are not talking about the rich farmers. We are talking about the laborers. They have work only in few months of a particular year. But now when it is rainy season, say in few months, those few months of rainy season, they don't have any employment because already the seeds are sown before the rain appears and harvesting is done later on. So some parts of the year they are unemployed. So they have to do without any fresh income. So all that or all of that amount that they had already earned in few months of that year while working or when they were employed, that amount is used in that whole year. Let's take it in a simple way. Out of 12 months, they get work say for only 6 to 7 months. So income also is equal to for those 6-7 months. But that income of that few months is used all over in 12 months. So once again, they go down. That is, they don't rise to a better lifestyle. So when they are unemployed for few months in that year, it is termed as seasonal unemployment. And the period of unemployment usually in the developing countries is long. Now poverty also is very important feature, and people who are not able to satisfy their very primary, that is basic necessities like food, clothing, shelter, health, education are termed as poor. In developing countries, such people constitute about 1/3 of the total population. That is, you can on an average in percentage you can say about 30% of our country's population is facing poverty. Now seventh is dual economy. Dual economy, that is our country or developing country's economy is based on dual system. And on one side we have villages, on the other hand we have modern cities. That is called dual economy. Now on one hand you have backward farming, traditional or ancient or old form of machinery, orthodox social structure, less production, all these things are seen in villages. Whereas in cities, we have modern industries, new production system, new production processes, modern tools, modern implements, and modern sophisticated lifestyle. Now the next is insufficient infrastructure facilities. You must have seen that people traveling by local transportation like BRTS, or if you go to Bombay, you must have seen local trains and maybe metro trains and all also. Here in India, which is a developing economy, you will see that there are people who are either in waiting list when they get their seat booked for railway to go from one state to other, or you can see that people are traveling by local train and BRTS and all. Each one doesn't get a seat to sit. This shows that there is insufficient infrastructure facilities compared to population. So crucially, or you can say very, very important infrastructure facilities like education, transportation, communication, electricity, health facilities, banking, etc. are less in developing country when compared to developed country, and this is a obstacle, you can say it's an obstacle for the development of a country. And the last feature over here is forms of international trade. The structure of foreign trade of developing countries is different. These countries mainly export agricultural based product and farm product as well as mineral ores. Ores means it is not a pure form. Till then it is called mineral ore. This type of products have less demand and low rate. So less income is earned by developing countries when they export this product. While imports include costly products like industrial machinery and many other industrial products and technology that we buy from other countries is very costly. So when we export from a country products, we earn less income. But when we import, we have to pay more amount. So the balance is not there between the import and export of our country. We are not earning more, we are spending more. And as the cost of this product is more, expenditure on our import also increases. Thus, as the condition of foreign trade are adverse, there is an increase in foreign debt. Condition of foreign trade are adverse means it's not advantageous. Our foreign trade is not advantageous because we are under debt, matlab कर्ज, and this debt, foreign debt, is increasing. Thus we see that above mentioned features are related to developing economy. As Indian economy is developing, all these features are connected to it in greater or lesser measure. So please go through the chapter perfectly and learn the question answers. Thank you so much.